Hello and welcome back to Do News. I'm your host, the King of Do. I'm happy to have you today and very honored to get to host some news for you guys. Been out on vacation, but I'm back ready to go, give you guys some news. Today I'm going to give you a special treat, kind of going to give you my personal opinions on some of Clif High's cryptocurrencies that were listed in his report. As always, you want to make sure that you look at as much information as you can and dig as deep as possible. I'm going to give you my 2 cents on the ones that were mentioned, and we're going to get started right now. All right, and we're back. And just kind of waiting for some people to trickle in. We are doing this live here. But we're going to try to keep it short, keep it brief, and to the point, because there's a lot to cover in this report. Bringing it up on my other screen now. Taking a look at the markets in the meantime. Bitcoin down about 4%. Had a nice little bounce recovery. You can kind of see here, if we kind of zoom in, we're going to go in on Bitcoin. Bitcoin being the leader in the markets. Always something to pay super close attention to. Bitcoin is how money moves, how you can move from one investment to another. Very, very strong indicator for the overall market health, etc. So what I want to look at here is the 1 month, because that's essentially about how fast this market moves. You're going to want to stay up to date on these things. Got a nice little double bounce right off here. You guys can see this. This is really, really nice. And a little head and shoulder action there. That's a good potential turnaround spot. You can kind of see how that happened similarly back here. You know, a move like this can often lead to a very impulsive move. Don't be surprised if you wake up in a day or two and we're sitting at 11,000 with some serious momentum. And if we have this kind of momentum that we had back here on a bigger scale, more volume that moves in, we potentially could break out and get back into the range of about 12,000 to 14,000 range. So just a tiny bit of, you know, technical there. But we could also break down as well. So no one knows what the markets are going to do. Make sure you guys are getting as much information as possible. I've seen some really, really beautiful long-term charts on BTC right now. So pay attention to the markets. Never fall asleep on it, because the moment you fall asleep is the day you log on and everything is up 20, 40%. And you're wondering, what just happened? I missed out. So good opportunities here in a lot of different currencies. A lot of the big boys going down as well. Fascinating today, though, NIM having some huge movement, really a big breakout. It definitely was oversold. If you take a look at the all-time high, really nice to see NIM making a big run like it is right now. So at 41 cents, NIM is on the move, looking to potentially recover a little bit after being oversold. You can kind of see here on this chart some consolidation right in this area. It seems to get stuck in here. I fully expect this to go back up to that range over the next 2 months, maybe 3 months. So be looking for NIM to keep going up. You guys know how much I love NIM. All right, so we're going to jump into the Clif High report and just kind of talk a little bit about what he has there. And first of all, for those of you who don't know who Clif High is, he's a very interesting gentleman. That's the best way to put it. He does some trend analysis in regards to linguistics based on what things are being talked about, searched, etc. Basically, things that people input into the internet, right? So going all the way to the very basic fundamentals of the internet and computers themselves, nothing can happen without an input. That input comes from your output. So you are outputting a signal into another device in order for something to happen, an automated process. And we have developed that to the extreme, and now you can type in all kinds of words and things like that and actually get back amazing results. Amazing processes are happening around the world, practically at no cost to you every time you surf the web. Pretty cool technology, right? So he's basically created a way of gathering all that data, filtering it, and actually trying to identify trends that are tied to emotional values. And this is very, very common. You know, if you go and you look back at the history of the internet, you can actually learn about how people talk during moments of crisis, moments of escalation and joy, and essentially tie those words together and kind of see that there's very similar to indicators here on my screen. You can kind of see that historically there's spikes and movements. If you guys are fascinated with this kind of stuff, I'd encourage you to check out Google Trends. Google Trends is a fantastic place to go, especially when you're researching some new coins. So Litecoin, for example, right now we look up some Litecoin action. Look at that. Do you think that December 10th to December 16th was a spike for no reason? It absolutely happened for a reason. Litecoin on a massive tear, price-wise. A lot of emotional good feelings, I'm sure, were tied with most of these searches on Google, and that's just kind of an example of the type of work that that gentleman tries to do. He releases a report every few months talking about his predictions. So here we have past data on Litecoin, and we could maybe make a prediction, right? You can see that there's this downtrend valley. Well, maybe in the past there were some downtrend valleys, and look, it goes back up. That's the most simple 101 of it. It's a lot more complicated, but you get the idea, right? Okay, so he goes over everything from precious metals to all kinds of new technologies, space race, things like that. But we're only going to focus on the cryptocurrency today for you guys and kind of give you my 2 cents on essentially what he's talking about in general. So he does talk about cryptocurrency mining, which is always important if you're in this space and you don't understand mining or haven't spent a lot of time in that. You need to, not necessarily in the hardware or actually the hobby mining yourself, but actually understanding what role that community plays and why that community is important to supporting a lot of the cryptocurrencies that are out there. And let's just say that their opinion matters, and they have a lot of power, something to understand. But talks a little bit about mining, forecasting, you know, continued adoption and things like that. And right now it's pretty crazy. It's hard to get your hands on any cars that are affordable. The mining craze is already peaked. Of course, the profitability is way over 50% down from even 2 months ago. So, you know, there was a massive craze to jump in on it when everything was spiking, of course. And now you have a lot of people getting into it. I'm sure a lot of those people are getting discouraged and maybe selling their equipment at a very low price. Definitely a good time to buy off of someone else if they're looking to get out because they just gave up or it was too complicated. Or as I always say, it's definitely more than a hobby. You have to be pretty passionate about the stuff. Money does not grow on trees, guys. Crypto mining is not just free money. You have to know a lot, learn a lot, keep learning a lot, adapt, stay active, stay in the know, and you have to go make that money. It's not free. So just something to keep in mind, guys. So it talks a little bit about mining in the report. I don't disagree with really any of it. Bitcoin is one that he talks quite a bit about. I'm kind of getting a little irritated with Clif High's reports. He actually finally has admitted that his algorithm really likes the number 8. And I keep on saying, well, don't you think that your algorithm might be broken if all of a sudden you're getting 8s all the time, that some type of calculation's off? Maybe you should look into it. That's just my opinion based on issues I've seen with repeating numbers in the past and repeating patterns. But yeah, we see a lot more 8s in the data. He's still targeting that 13,888. You know, still kind of eyeing through basically the end of March. We're not really seeing a huge push upward, but just looking at the charts when we just got started, you can see that that's still in the cards for this month. He's looking at a $38,000 price point for Bitcoin. That's definitely something that's completely plausible before summertime. If you guys remember a year ago, Ripple at this time of year was probably less than 2 pennies. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. There's some perspective for you guys for where we're at today. I don't see that being outrageous, especially since Bitcoin is the way that money is going to get in the market. We're going to continue to see a whole lot of new ICOs. That's going to force the price up this year. And it's just going to take a little time for that to ramp up. You're going to start seeing that ramp up heavily throughout the summer. There's going to be a couple ICOs where people essentially are saying, I doubled my money overnight. The hype will start building, and before you know it, we'll have the ICO hype that lasts usually all the way about up until November, and things kind of start shutting down for the holidays. There's just kind of like an ebb and flow to not just cryptocurrency, but the way the general markets and investing works. So that's kind of just the time frame to kind of get used to and to be aware of. So anyhow, I expect Bitcoin to absolutely hit that number. I have higher hopes for that than that number this year, but anything's possible. Bitcoin Cash could be worth that, and Bitcoin could be worth 0, which leads me to the next one, Bitcoin Cash. A lot of people have very strong opinions on this. I continue to force myself to remain neutral and to listen to both sides. While there is absolutely bad blood, while a lot of things are immature that's happening, looking at the actual use cases and the adoption rates and things like that, it's very important to understand that either one could technically end up being the true winner and being the real Bitcoin. You know, my opinion sways back and forth on which one's the true Bitcoin. A lot of people believe that Bitcoin Cash, because it holds true to the original white paper of Bitcoin, that purity of it staying what it once was is a lot stronger. And they believe it's more secure than Bitcoin is now, etc. We could talk about that all day, right? I could probably do like 10 videos deep diving each of those sides of the arguments. And honestly, each side of the arguments are so complex that, you know, it's really, really time consuming to dive in and truly understand which one's which. What I do know is that the markets are still moving based on Bitcoin now. Bitcoin is still the king. But that doesn't mean that will be forever. You know, Bitcoin has resolved a lot of problems because of what they've done. Things like SegWit, right? So things are getting better on the Bitcoin landscape. I think that we're going to see fast transactions and cheap transactions going forward for quite a while. It's a lot more scalable now. I think it's going to handle it just fine. So I don't have a strong opinion. However, investment purposes, and I don't know. I'm still on the fence. I wouldn't mind anyone or judge anyone for owning both, just as a hedge. But if you're hedging, you know, you don't need as much if you want to own the same amount, right? 10 Bitcoin versus 10 Bitcoin Cash doesn't cost as much, right? So both of them could go to 0, guys. So don't get too caught up. Cardano is strictly still speculative to me. He talks quite a bit about Cardano, and guys, please make sure you understand that I am trying to pay respects to the man who does a lot of hard work to calculate all of these numbers and post this report. I'm not going to read directly from it out of respect to him. You definitely want to make sure that he has his due. Now, most people have a friend or know someone where they can get one. Make sure you track those people down and talk to them. And if, by all means, maybe if you did get something valuable out of it, or if you found it enlightening, if you found it entertaining, make sure you throw the guy a bone. You know, he did work hard to create these reports, and they're quite the phenomenon here on YouTube. Oh gosh, somebody's got a super chat going on right here. I can kind of see it in my chat. Holy, thank you for the donation. Really appreciate it. Very, very, very grateful for that. We got the live stream in New Zealand. Don't go back to work. Oh man, thank you, sir. You know, I did have to go back to work. I'm back from vacation. Got back to work, and vacations always give you new perspectives on things, and which is healthy and good. You guys know more than anything, I'd rather spend my entire day doing this with you guys. But let's be real, I've got a wife and a daughter, and if any of you have ladies in your life, they can, I don't want to speak for all of them, but they typically can be very expensive in general. So, man, I would have to have a, yeah, they're expensive. We'll just leave it at that. All right. I'm going to bring up Cardano here. just so we have something to look at while we're talking about it. At 22 cents right now, moving sideways. It looks like it's completed its market cycle here. You guys can kind of see a traditional market cycle. Pretty obvious, right? Now, it doesn't have a lot of history, so we really don't know where the bottom is on Cardano. I would have to say that the very, very bottom is probably the top of this right here. So we could see it go as low as 12 cents, which would be one heck of a time to load the boat, if you ask me. Now, that's really painful. Anyone who was buying Cardano, maybe you bought 1,000 of it, up here somewhere, you're probably, you know, you're down a significant amount, 66% or more. But I would say this, you know, if Cardano actually works out in the things that they're working on, it's strictly speculative, but $1,000 investment, even if you paid $1 for it, way back here, your grandkids will probably be grateful if they pull it off. You know, you're going to be able to buy a piece of real estate or something with 1,000 Cardano if they truly can do what they say they can do. And again, it's completely speculative right now, so it's kind of hard to root for them or be all in. You know, I'm not here to give any financial advice. I'm just here giving you guys my 2 cents about each of the ones that Clif put in his report. And I guess the one takeaway on this one is strictly it's speculative. You got to do a ton of homework, and if you don't truly believe in it, you have to have a belief system to invest in Cardano, if that makes sense. Because you're investing in a belief, you're not investing in true, tangible, real technology working today, ready to, you know, be used. Now, they have all the right things going for it so far, so we'll have to just wait and see. Okay, Dash. Okay, Dash, guys, is one that for a very, very, very long time I wasn't a fan of. A lot of people know that. And I'm not going to still sit here and say I'm a fan. However, I am going to sit here and say that I'm reconsidering my position on Dash. There was an announcement made about a month ago now, and essentially Dash is trying to create a platform. And if you can imagine what Google Drive is, I'm hoping that most of you have used Google Drive and understand Google Drive in the workplace and even your personal life, essentially documents working in the cloud. Dash is actively doing that right now, and it's already public knowledge. It's being announced. They plan on making a huge splash in the space to essentially start offering essentially decentralized documents. It's going to work just like a Google Drive. It's a place where people can go and build apps for it and things like that. So Dash is becoming something more than a digital currency. And it makes sense because they need to have a platform where people have a reason to actually use the Dash, right? There's still really no reason to use it, honestly. If you've ever bought anything with Dash, please let me know. Leave something in the comments below. But I've never met anyone that bought anything with Dash. I see people that buy stuff with Litecoin and Bitcoin. But Dash just seems like to be this, you know, really, really well marketed and commercialized thing. However, they're not. I haven't really seen too many use cases. Looks like they're trying to build a platform for the use cases, potentially very promising. Now, I was on a flight, on my JetBlue flight, and I did get to see the Dash commercial live myself. Very, very well done. I have to give them huge props. If anyone over at Dash is looking for a job, I will hire you immediately to commercialize all the things for me. Because excellent, best-in-class, world-class marketing. A very, very complex technology, simple enough for someone sitting in any airport, really, right, on any plane. So kind of a big fan of Dash maybe making some noise, getting some hype around that. And I think that, you know, not a lot of people are really aware of what's going on. Even since that announcement, people have sold on that news, and it's tanked quite hard. I think there's a huge opportunity in Dash as an investment. Do your own homework. This is not investment advice. Exclaimer, disclaimer, whatever. Asterisks all over my screen, right? All right, so that's how I feel about Dash. But if you know where Dash has been and the price it's at right now, you might want to consider it just for the potential upside. But we'll just have to see where it goes. You know, there's with the, you know, the next potential market pump, along with new technology rolling out at the same time, you have all these new people pumping money into the market. You might want to just hold on tight for Dash. Don't be surprised when we see Dash break the $2,000 mark this year. I think that's completely in the cards for Dash. Okay, the next one's Digibyte. Really happy to see him talk about Digibyte. I don't know why Digibyte doesn't get the love it deserves. It's been around a very long time, and I'm a huge fan of it. I don't know why more people aren't. It's one of those ones that are very attractive to new investors, because right now you can get it for 2 cents, right? Now, that being said, there are 9 billion of them, so basically 10 billion if you round up, with a max supply hitting about 21. Now, that's on purpose, obviously, but that's still nothing compared to the amount of US dollars flying around, right? Or even the amount of US nickels flying around. So not too big of a deal. You know, the more that a currency is used, the value actually goes up because of the use of it, strictly the use of it, which is a good example of the US dollar, right? The US dollar actually has no real value, but because we all use it, we value it at this amount. And you see that a lot in cryptocurrencies, where you will see the price of it be much higher. People don't understand market cap in the crypto space. They think market cap has something to do with the value of the technology itself. As in, people are saying, this technology over there is worth this, and that's incorrect, right? If you look at Ethereum, it has nothing to do, that's not the price of Ethereum. That is a representation of both the technology, the use cases of Ethereum, including all the smart contracts, all of the decentralization value, etc., and the fact that you have to use that as your means of investing. So if I wanted to invest something, I have to get it from someone else, which means I need to pay that other person what they're willing to sell it for. We have to come into an agreement, and the exchanges take care of the rest, right? Okay, a little economics there for you guys. Hope you guys enjoying this. How you guys doing? So Digibyte, huge fan of it. Please check it out. I've been a fan of it for a very long time. I've always wondered why it doesn't really get ramped up, why it doesn't really get going. We've seen the price hit 5 cents before a few times, and so there's really it's a fantastic buying opportunity to potentially double your money. But don't be surprised, guys, with some of the stuff that Digibyte's working on potentially rolling out in this year, that you could actually see it reach all-time new highs, along with all the new money entering the market. Digibyte is potentially poised to recapture a top 20 position. That being said, it also could slip out of the top 100 here pretty quickly. But it's been around for quite a while, has a really good community. I would have to say one of the most positive communities. And I think community is really important in this space. You got to have a community of people that are passionate and support the cause and believe in it for it to be successful. It's very much like your own business that you work at. If you don't have people that have good belief systems, then the actions that they take usually aren't the ones that you want them to take within your business, bad decision making, etc. It just leads to a unsuccessful business. Now, even unsuccessful businesses can still post profits. I guess it just depends on your definition of success, but I like to think that within all the profits, there's happiness to be had. So that's just my personal opinion on that, guys. All right, so check out Digibyte. Make sure you check it out. If you find something good and interesting, make sure you put it in the comments below. Also, again, call out to everyone that's been joining the Telegram. Got some really good conversations on Telegram. Fantastic news, fantastic conversations. I can't be a part of all of them at this point. There's too much chatter happening, but it's basically all you guys coming together, and we're having a party. And we're learning a lot, and we're having a good time. We're sharing really high-quality information. Let me just make this super clear. If you aren't in that Telegram, I'd probably put a price tag in the thousands of dollars of information that you're going to probably end up getting for free. Right? That's the beauty of all of us coming together and crowdsourcing high quality information. It's blowing my mind, guys. I want to thank everyone who's contributed, everyone who's come and joined, and this is a huge call out to just make sure that everyone knows that they're invited. I want everybody to come to Telegram. You're missing out. If you're an investor, you must be in this Telegram. End of story. If you just enjoy cryptocurrency, blockchain, you're interested in it, want to learn more, it's a fantastic place as well. But those of you that are looking to invest, I'd probably drop what you're doing and sign up right away. All right. EOS. You guys know me and EOS. Again, another speculative play. Just like Cardano, if they can pull off what they say they can pull off, we're looking at easily $1,000 per EOS. It's inevitable. We are going to see market caps in the billions and billions and eventually someday trillions. And guys, this is so early on that when we're talking about the prices of these things, we always try to look backwards and we use these indicators and things like that, right? Looking backwards, but you have to account for how much more money is going to enter this space as well. If EOS can actually pull it off, game changing, it's going to be huge. It's a long shot. Let's be real. But ask yourself if you want to sit on the sidelines. Because I can tell you what, Ethereum was a long shot 2 years ago, wasn't it? Raise your hand if you're with me, guys. You guys remember. It was not that long ago where Ethereum was speculative. Super speculative, right? Now it's like, if you basically don't have Ethereum in your portfolio, you're probably doing it wrong. Just in general. Litecoin. Of course, Clif High and Litecoin. You guys, got Jay Snip out there pumping Litecoin to the moon and back. Can't blame him. I think that Litecoin with the ICOs that are going to be coming out this year, again, people literally do use Litecoin to purchase things, but now we're going to actually have investment opportunities. So you expect to see big, smart money move into the space as good ICOs launch. And that's the important part, the good ones. The good ones. And that's all the more reason to subscribe and hit the like button, guys. You want to make sure that not only you get information about future ICOs across different blockchains in the future, you also want to help out the other guy that's going to hopefully find the channel later. So make sure you guys are smashing that like button for me. Appreciate it very much. But EOS. You just have, sorry, I'm jumping back to EOS. EOS speculative, Litecoin. It's pretty conservative as a general investment right now. At the price it's at, can you really go wrong? I have a hard time believing it'll go back down below $90. I think that would be the bottom between you and me, but that's just a personal opinion. I still think that Litecoin will be over $1,000 by the end of the year. Easily, just based on ICOs. If you're smart, you know what you're doing, you understand the ICO life cycles. If you were here during the Ethereum era of ICOs launching like crazy, you will literally know exactly when to sell and when to buy back. It's going to be a piece of cake. If you don't know that, I wouldn't go there. I'm not going to advise anyone on that. I just know that some of you out there, some people watching this right now know exactly what I'm talking about. And some of you are in the Telegram as well. And you know what I'm talking about. You will know. You understand the ebbs and flows of ICOs. That rhymes. Should get a t-shirt made. Monero. Okay. Big fan of Monero, as it is, traditionally the king of the privacy and all that fun stuff. But, I'm still a big fan of some of the other ones, the other coins out there. And I guess it has more to do with, I don't know, the general... I think that some of the new up-and-comings are going to have more potential to kind of fly under the radar. They've got really, really good marketing teams, which I don't think you should really be doing much marketing for privacy coin. But when I look at the potential technologies, there's some good ones out there. Definitely some worth checking out, a lot more than Monero. I think that every portfolio should have a privacy section. You should diversify. If you've ever paid attention to the markets, you've seen many times throughout the years where you're going to log on and everything is red, except privacy coins. They're up like 20%, all of them at once. I don't know who's dumping money into privacy coins in that way, but clearly there's some people out there that are got a lot of money and they're very serious about obtaining these privacy coins. I have a few personal favorites and I talk about them. We've been talking about Zencash recently, things like that. Some pretty cool things going on in this space, but there are so many privacy coins trying to make a name for themselves. You know, Pivx and Cloak, excellent coins to go learn about. I'm not telling you to invest in everything. You should look at least the top 20 and then make a very good educated guess on which ones to add to your portfolio. That's all I got to say when it comes to privacy coins. OmiseGO. Okay, so OmiseGO, he basically is repeating the same thing from the last report. He's kind of talking a little bit about payment processing and how it's going to be used by governments and things like that. So, and we're already seeing the OmiseGO team provide proof that they can be at the table. And this is the most important thing I'll probably talk about today that you need to take away. OmiseGO, OMG. When that news came out about Thailand, I covered it on the channel and I made it clear at the time that this is proof, right? They made the deal with Thailand to actually do software for them, etc., etc. Well, OMG actually makes all kinds of different software. There was zero mention of blockchain at all. Okay? But what it did prove is that the team leading OMG has an audience with government officials, leaders, and has the capabilities and proof of their ability to actually land the deal and make it happen. Okay? And that's why it's really exciting. Because what if a year from now, the next announcement out of Thailand's government isn't just a partnership with OMG, it's the OMG blockchain. Boom. That's all I gotta say about that. The fact that they have a seat at the table, right? People make a huge deal about how Vitalik has, phone calls with Putin. We should probably all start paying attention to world leaders talking to leaders in blockchain across all the blockchains and pay really close attention to it. Nothing out of conspiracy. I want to believe that it's all forward thinking. So pay super close attention when you see that. That goes for every coin, every piece of news. You should be looking for that kind of news. And once you find it, validate that it's real. Populist. Now, Populist is getting wrecked because all the FUD surrounding, leadership that essentially at one point maybe did something illegal. I probably did 10 things illegal today without knowing it. Of course, I'm sure his was quite worthy of whatever it was. But I'm not saying that to be silly. I guess it's like, I once read some laws about how it's illegal to spit on the sidewalk. Whoops. There's all kinds of crazy laws out there. So I'm sure we've all broken some laws today. If you didn't speed today when driving to and from work, well, congratulations, you're a minority. Anyhow. So Populist in general, I really, really like it for the long term. I think it's a great buying opportunity. Even in the short term, I can see it shooting straight back up to $70, $80. We have been experiencing a massive oversell, pounded down by FUD, and I don't know, guys. I mean, before the pounding of all the FUD, which really wasn't new news. We all knew if you actually did your homework, but it's got some serious legs. Seriously consider it. Seriously take a look at it. You know, invest what you're only willing to lose, and you got nothing to lose, but a whole lot to gain. All right, Ripple. I love that Clif High always repeats that he's super annoyed by Ripple. I think everyone that watches my channel is super annoyed by Ripple based on the comments I get every time I talk about Ripple. So, and I get really, really frustrated when I think about Ripple because I don't want to believe what my brain thinks, right? Because I want to believe people are generally good and all that fun stuff, but there's a lot of evil in the world as well, and greed can often lead to bad decision making that is essentially a type of evil, I guess. But Ripple, very, very annoying to me as well. And I guess the piece is that I don't know who voted it the king of banking coins. I don't know how it happened. I don't understand how it's gained so much traction considering all the issues and faults it has. And then you have this huge population of people that are just so gung-ho about it. And it's like, yeah, well, you know, I owned some back at 2 pennies too, but I'm not like losing my mind over it just because it's worth more. It's like, you know, whatever. I guess for me with Ripple, and I've talked about it many times before, and I'll talk about it again, and I'll continue to, so people really understand that are joining the channel. My opinion on it is, having been in both a regular, normal job role, and then also being in leadership, it's very fascinating what you learn about people. And there's just, I guess not just a few, I would say the majority of people around the world would prefer to have someone else to blame for whatever. I'll be honest, I'm probably at fault of that every day. I probably blame someone else for something else, and you know, oh, well, you know, this isn't happening because so-and-so didn't do this and that, and so I'm just, you know, etc., right? So I think we're all guilty of it at some point. We've all blamed someone else. When deep down, if you figure it out, you probably had the capabilities of doing it yourself. But in some ways, I think that some people just want someone else to blame, someone else to look to, someone else to keep them safe, and that, you know, I understand it. It's nice to be lazy. Isn't it nice to come home and not, like, worry about certain things that the government just kind of does for you? It's kind of nice to not really worry about the, you know, the red light going red and mine going green and at the right time, things like that. I mean, there are some good benefits out there to governments, right? And what they do and the work they do. We all got a laundry list of stuff they do wrong. But there's a laundry list of stuff that you and I do wrong, so we can't really just all point fingers at one direction. But I think that generally people like to blame people, and so when it comes to Ripple, I get really, really worried that people are really going to be okay if blockchain gets developed and used and incorporated into the banking system, and the banks just end up winning the whole thing. I'm sorry, but I see that in the cards super clearly. Because there's really only two ways this goes, guys. We literally play that card, which is not the card many of us are hoping for, and the reason this whole entire space really has taken off. A lot of the belief systems that run this space are the decentralization of it. The other card is that. It's, you know, the decentralization of it. And I hope that that happens in a healthy way. I do believe in a world where we can still have governments that are trustworthy and transparent, and we can see all of the transactions, etc., and actually have some type of balance to the financial system. And thus, with a balance, in more even playing field, right? So I would like to think that there's more opportunities to get ahead, that when you work harder than the other person, you'll get ahead easier and faster, etc., because of more of a decentralized economy. But I don't know. I do not know what will happen. You don't know what will happen. I don't judge anyone if they've invested in Ripple, because I get it. Banks have been winning the game for our entire lives, right? For as long as you've been alive. So just something to think about. Just something to think about. But yeah, Ripple annoys the crap out of me. But man, it's going to go to $2 to $3 this year. So, you know, I don't judge you if you want to make money off of it. Do some, you know, do your homework, do your research, you know. But man, it's hard to believe in, so it's really hard to own. I don't advise it. The only Ripple I have in my possession are strictly donations, and you know, not gonna turn down a free Ripple, I guess. So it just is what it is. Just is what it is. Veritasium. Clif is a huge fan of this one, and I understand why. Veritasium took me a really long time to understand. It's extremely complex. You have to study a little bit of financial systems and understand how money works in that space and how money flows, the benefits of smart contracts. It's a difficult one, but once you wrap your brain around it, it's a winner. It's a winner because what they're building is a platform that's going to help extend beyond just Ethereum. And I think that that's probably the critical piece most people miss, is that what they're building is going to easily port over to something like EOS if they're successful. And it's just something to keep in mind, is that the way that they're approaching what they're doing is very new age. You might be literally investing in the first successful decentralized company. I don't even know. But if, you know, they are positioned well with what they're doing and the target market that they're going after to be successful, they, you know, they got the right people who know the right people. Again, people who have a seat at the right table. Very important. Almost more important than anything, right? People complain about how markets are manipulated and yada, yada, yada. Well, it's because all those people get together and they talked. Just like you and I are talking right now, right? We're talking about opportunities. What do you think they do? They get together and they talk about opportunities. They just have a whole lot of power to make those opportunities become reality and have a high success rate because of it. So they're no different than you and me. Just some food for thought. But Veritasium, let's take a look at the price. I'm getting bored of looking at this. Veritasium, at a steal of a deal, 157 right now. Man, it was just yesterday. We're in the 400 range, weren't we? Yeah. So, coming on down. It could continue to fall. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually see a complete market cycle come all the way back down, at which point you might be able to be picking it up at $50. So my advice to anyone that's interested is, with any investment, as you see a market cycle finishing like you see here, make sure you guys are setting up multiple buy orders on the way down and averaging out. Because honestly, I wouldn't, if it did go all the way down, I won't be sad that I averaged, instead of $50, I averaged about $75. I won't be too mad. That being said, if it only goes down to $100 and then it shoots to the moon, well, at least I snagged some at $100. That's always the best way to enter the market. Do not ever spend all your money on one buy order. Never. Like, if you can make that a habit and a practice from day one on investing, that when you go to your account, I don't know what exchanges you use, and this is true for stocks and everything, set up multiple buy orders and just sit back and see what happens. Have a strategy to go in, have a strategy to go out, and always invest wisely. So that's it for today with all my opinions on what Clif reported on. I encourage you to check out the report because it's kind of fun. It's just a fun report. Let me take a look here. It's 36 pages long, so you're getting a good couple chapters of a book, essentially. It's definitely not cheap, but you can check out his report on halfpasthuman.com. We're going to jump on over and see if there's anything I got time to respond to. So we'll just take a quick look here. Man, we've got some beautiful chats going on here. And just got some people jumping in here. In case you guys missed it, we got the Clif High reports, gave some opinions on different coins. If you missed the first half of the stream, make sure that you like and you subscribe. You will get to see it posted. It just takes some time for YouTube to process, so you definitely want to check out the first half if you guys want my opinions. Jonathan got in at NIM at 9 cents. That's a beautiful thing, bro. It's a beautiful thing. Just kind of breezing through here. Norm likes Bitcoin private over Bcash. I can get on that boat. I don't judge you. There's some potential there. There's some potential. A lot of people got some free Bitcoin private as well. So that's pretty good. We need to get Dew drunk to hear his true opinion on Bitcoin Cash. I get drunk on Dew, on Mountain Dew. I'll do that. I'll do that live. Should we do some Mountain Dew chugging live sometime? I don't know. I guess I need to put out some type of like subscription challenge of some sort or something like that. Maybe we can do some Mountain Dew chugging. Thank you, Jose. He believes in me. I don't know how you did that. King of Dew like that with the cool background. That's cool. Appreciate that. NIM versus ETH. NIM wins in my book. So many reasons. You know, Norm, I won't disagree. I won't disagree. Yeah, I just won't. I think that we could have a really, really good long conversation on that one. That might be a fun video to do, some NIM versus Ethereum. I talk about this a lot. I truly believe there's enough space in the space for all of these to succeed. Because we're just getting started. No, Norm, Icon is not mentioned in the report. Norm doesn't know why, but Dash never stuck. It didn't stick for me either. Just what's crazy is you would think that it would stick, especially to people new in the space. But yeah, he's all about that sexy Amanda B. Johnson. Yeah, I mean, let's be real. I don't really watch Dash videos anymore. I don't know where they screwed up to lose her. I don't think she's working on that team or doing that anymore. But Amanda, if you're out there, you know, hit me up. Leave a comment below. Love to do an interview with you sometime. That'd just be fun to hang out with the Amanda B. Let's see. Just kind of flipping through. I got so many here. People are looking for my long-term opinions. I'll have to go over those in another one. If you hop in the Telegram, you'll see a lot more responses there. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the Clif High report. It was nice to have it come out. He hasn't done one probably since like December. Took some time off. I guess he was moving and stuff, which is cool. There's going to be a lot of people out there who have a lot of strong opinions about Clif High, either for or against. Everything he does is forecasting and guessing based on past data. It's no different than trying to do technical market trading, except it's extremely blurry. Please keep that in mind. Please only use his information as an indicator, much like you have other indicators. And I showed you one indicator today, and one indicator you should always use is even Google Trends. If you're a swing trader or a day trader, look and see what people are doing. You can actually compare different stuff like Bitcoin versus Litecoin and actually see the difference between the two. Very, very important to always do your homework, always do your research, and as always, I am the King of Dew. May the force be with you guys.